Fights Mics and Media. I'm Goldie Boy with my BIG and I got a story to tell. Please like, comment, and subscribe if it's a vibe. Mwah.
The life, go. It's real, go. So official, they go. I used to twist the cap.
This is the story of a boxer who overdosed on sugar. Stay tuned in. On March 11th, 1946, an up-and-coming 21-year-old welterweight boxer from Los Angeles went by the name of Jimmy Doyle stepped into the arena ring in Cleveland to face Artie Levine, one of the top middleweights in the world. Though he came out on top in the first 8 rounds, after going down for a third time in the 9th round, the referee stopped the fight. Doyle went to St. Vincent's Hospital where he spent 3 days recovering from a concussion and brain hemorrhage. Jimmy Doyle went home to Los Angeles noticeably different. He did not go out dancing or seem to jet about the house where he lived with his father, mother, 3 brothers and sister with the same gusto. After 9 months, he was determined to get back into the ring. He easily won his first 5 fights, earning a chance to face Walker Smith Jr. for the welterweight championship of the world. Doyle had his eyes set on going into business in California, training new boxers and buying a new home for his mother. Though encouraged by some not to get into the ring, but that he did on June 24th, 1947, once again at the arena in Cleveland. In the 6th round, with Doyle showing promise, Walker gave one left hook which sent Jimmy Doyle rigidly back onto the canvas. Under a paralyzing blow to the jaw, Jimmy Doyle's body stiffened and he fell backwards as though his heels were hinged to the floor. With what was left of his instinct, he fumbled blindly for the ropes, brushed them with his clumsy gloves, and lay still. The bell rang, and the round ended as the referee's count reached 9. Jimmy Doyle's handlers went to work with cold water and smelling salt, but Boxer Doyle fought no more. In the ring center, Walker Smith Jr., making his first defense of the welterweight championship, took the victor's bow, but he did no victor's dance. His opponent lay in a coma and a doctor was examining him. Later, in the dressing room, Walker asked, "Is the kid up yet? The punch only traveled 6 inches, I think." Almost as he spoke, stretcher bearers were taking Jimmy Doyle from the Cleveland's arena. A fan recalls the words that the Cleveland press columnist Frankie Lewis wrote earlier that day about how things would be after the remains of Jimmy Doyle are toted gently away from the arena's warm ring this evening. Twice on a stretcher, 15 months before, Boxer Doyle had been carried from the same ring. He woke up in St. Vincent Charity Hospital and his head hurt. He had been hit a terrific wallop by Brooklyn's Artie Levine. The doctor said he had a brain concussion. Although he was only 21, Doyle had never been quite the same after that. Punch drunk, Jimmy wandered back to Los Angeles, where his friends called him by his real name, Jimmy Delaney. As mentioned, his family noticed that Jimmy did not go dancing as he once did, and no longer bounced around the house sparring and roughhousing. Instead, he sat for hours reading books and talked as though he would never again enter a ring. But after nearly 9 months of retirement, he began to stir again. He told a friend, "I have to prove I wasn't hurt, that I'm a man." Manager Paul Doyle lined up a few bouts, and Jimmy breezed through the first 5 against second raters. One more fight before he stepped into the ring against Walker Smith Jimmy promised his father that it would be his last fight unless he won. Last week, 17 hours after champion Smith flattened him, 22-year-old Jimmy Doyle died of a cerebral hemorrhage, the first death in a championship fight in modern U.S. boxing history. Walker Smith Jr. had a premonition the night before that he would render a fatal blow to Jimmy. He tried to get out of the fight. After it was over, he rushed to the hospital just as the priest was giving Jimmy the last rites. Walker Smith contributed the earnings from his several fights to Jimmy Doyle's family and ensured that his mother received $50 a month for 10 years. The next day at the inquest, the Cleveland coroner asked Walker Smith if he noticed whether Doyle was in trouble during the fight. Walker Smith, aka Sugar Ray Robinson, giving him the best answer a professional boxer could, replied, "Getting him in trouble is my business as a boxer and a champion." The 22-year-old fighter had an impressive record. Out of 53 fights, he had 43 wins, 7 losses, and 3 draws. The Gone Too Soon boxing great has inspired a cult following among historians of the sport and those fans old enough to remember him. Many have called him the greatest fighter on the coast. With many including at least 2 Sugar Ray biographies and apparently Sugar Ray himself, according to a posthumously published autobiography, did not know was that Jimmy Doyle was not Irish, but in fact a colored Creole from a New Orleans family. Born James Emerson Delaney in Los Angeles, August 12, 1924, Jimmy Doyle was the son of Edward, originally Edward Delaney, and Mary Elodie Barrett, both from New Orleans, who moved to Los Angeles shortly after their marriage in 1921. Rest in peace, champ. Mwah.